I put out a video about how to get part and assembly weights in drawings in Alibre, but I think I can do better. So let's talk about new features that allow you to have these kinds of weights in drawings. I'm still going to keep the old video up, but I'm going to treat this video as one that supersedes it. So I'll put a link to the old video in the description if you want to see that, but I think this is the better video between the two. Let's go. Here's my part in Alibre, and I would sure love to be able to show how to get its weight on my drawing. So the first step is to make sure your part is saved and get this on a drawing. Choose whatever template you'd like. I'll go ahead and go with, say, ANSI size B. And I'll insert my views. Now from here, we have one individual single part. There's not really any reason to have a bill of materials. However, we can use the bill of materials for another reason. So I'll click on Bill of Materials, and then I'll choose a standard template, unless you have some custom template that you like. And from here, I'll double click on my Bill of Materials to edit, and I'll go with Add Column. But instead of add column, I'm actually going to delete all of the columns that I have over here. Scroll to the bottom and add simply one column called weight. I'll click the plus sign to put weight in. And now my bill of materials is delivering my weight as 9.6 kilograms. So I can exit out of that, and I can stick my bill of materials wherever I would like for it to report weight. Now let's take a look at how this works. I'll go ahead and edit my 3D model, and I'll add some weight by sketching out something to extrude on this face. I'll make a circle right on the origin here. We'll extrude. Now I'll head on back to my drawing. We'll save and close. And you'll see that this doesn't show up on my drawing, right? There's no extrude here, and the weight is still the same. So we'll make sure that our drawing's up to date by reprojecting the views. And of course, I should save my drawing first. And once we're all saved, we'll reproject. There you can see the extrude that we just added in, and our weight is increased to 10.9 kilograms. So this is how we can get an updating drawing, exactly how we'd want with updating weight. But I received a few other questions. What can we do if we want to put weight that updates on multiple sheets? And what are some ways that we can handle an assembly? Well, let's talk about that by talking about another strategy to get weight on our drawings. First, I'm going to delete my views. There we are. And now I have a blank, basically a blank template. And I want to save as such. So I'm going to do a save as. I'm going to save this so that I can use it as a template. So now I have this drawing template weight file set up, right? And I'm going to use this as a template. And I want to make a property. So I'm going to open up a blank part now. And we'll go to File and Manage Properties. You see, I have a property called Mass for Drawing, exactly like this. So type this out exactly as it is, Mass for Drawing, and then click OK. And you'll have a custom property come up called Mass for Drawing, and it needs to be called exactly this. So once Mass for Drawing is set up, we'll head back to our drawing here, and we'll go with starting a sketch on our sheet and inserting a field, a text field. And we want this field to have a property value, and for the value, we're going to have it be our mass for drawing right here under custom properties. Now ANSI templates don't explicitly mark this box, but it's mostly used for weight. So I'm going to put my weight right there in its little box. And I'm going to save my template. So I have this blank property that is called mass for drawing. And now we can go to a scripting solution. So now that we're back to our part, we need a strategy to get a value into that custom property. And I think a script is the best way to go for pro and expert users. So we're going to go to script over here and launch our Python console. I'm going to go with new, and I can paste in a script. I'm going to put the script here in the description of this video so you can use it too. And I'll go ahead and run. You'll see that we go to our console and our carrots will show up here. So we're done running the script and it looks like there's no errors. So I'm going to go over to my file and I can see that mass for drawing is now populated with the mass of 9.6 kilograms like we've seen before. So with that being said, let's go to save the part, send to, and we'll make a drawing. But this time we'll make sure that we browse and we pull up the template that we want. And that's the template that I saved it as, so I'm going to say OK. You can see that our mass for drawing is set to be automatically put in. So say OK to that. All right. Now we can see that down here our property has updated to 9.6 kilograms, exactly what we wanted. So these are two ways that you can get a weight on your drawing. Now it is important to say that when a change is made, the script needs to be rerun so the correct property value needs to be added in. Now it can be a pain to try to paste that script into the console every single time. So let's make some changes here. Under Library, I can open Library in Windows Explorer, and there's my script library, right? So I'll go to Script and Save As, and it will save my new script with whatever I'd like. So I'll go ahead and enter in the path to my library, and then I'll make a new folder called Weight Script. Or you can organize your scripts however you see best. And I'll say part and assembly weight. And now I can see my weight script shows up. And I can just double click to add this. So if I once again go to my model and create a sketch on my cylinder head's face. And so I'll add a circle right on the origin here. And once again, do an extrude just to change her weight. And then we'll go to our scripts and double click on part and assembly weight. And then we'll go up to here to scripts and make sure that we run it. So after running, we can see that we have 10.93 kilograms, which is our new weight. I'll go ahead and save my changes. And now when I go ahead and update everything, apparently I have to save. I'll reproject my views now. And there's our 10.93 kilogram update. So we have updating weight, and of course you can make your subsequent title block sheets all have this weight, so you can have weight on every single one of your sheets, and it updates for parts, no problem. But what about assemblies? Let's take a look at those. So here is an assembly, right? We want to send this to a drawing. This is for injection mold tooling, right? So our parts fit right in, and you can get injection molds that way. Let's send this to this drawing, and I'll go ahead and save it first because I moved those parts. And we're going to say, oh yeah, let's use that custom template. Alright, here we go. And as you can see, we have no value down here because we haven't run our script yet. But let's say that we want to get our weights using our bill of materials. So let's go ahead and go with Sheets and Views, Bill of Materials, and I'm going to say OK to that. I can once again, because we're in an assembly, maybe I want to keep all my columns this time, and I'll add weight. Once I close this, I can see that every component has its weight listed. Now there's one thing that we can do if we want the weight of our entire assembly. That's quick and easy, but I don't recommend it, and I'll show you why. First off, I can highlight this and say column, show summation row, and this adds up everything, right? So if I want to know the total quantity of parts that I am putting in my assembly, I can say column, show summation row, and it tells me I have a total assembly of 3 parts. The total weight is 59,940, right? Pretty heavy assembly, but I don't think I have material set, so it's probably unusually heavy. But this is why I would shy away from using the summation row for weight. This works great if your components are unique. But if I go and say edit my 3D model, and back in the assembly I duplicate this a few times, I hold Control and drag my mouse, I can get a lot more weight going on, right? So I'll save, and now I'll be sure to update everything. Now with this updated, you can see I have the same weight, and that's because the weight is not multiplied by the quantity here. So I would recommend using this script if you want a total weight, because if you have duplicate parts, it only counts the weight of one of those. So again, we can come over here and column and not show summation row, right? That just toggles off and then it goes away. And we're left with this mess of views that I kind of messed up by adding all these parts. But let's go run our script. So we're going to go edit our 3D model, and then we'll go to script. We'll launch our script. Here's our part and assembly weight script. We'll click on run, and there our carrots came in, so we're done running. Let's go see how much this weighs. Oh, and it looks like this is blank, right? So for assemblies, you might need to run this twice. Let's just check. Run. And there we are. Yes, 161,000 pounds. This is why it's a great idea to assign weight and material types like we did with our part example that was in 6061. That was a realistic weight. So if you have an unrealistic weight, that is the first place to look. But now, if we head back to our drawing and save, we'll simply reproject our views. And now because we ran our script and our custom property has the value assigned, the value shows up here. So we are able to show our weight. Again, for the assembly, we can see the individual component weights here. We can see the total weight in our weight part of our drawing. So I think this is a great way to go if we want to show weights for assemblies and their individual components. Now in the last video, which I will also put a link to in the description, I think I have another way of doing it if this doesn't work for you for assemblies in the last video, but it's kind of a messy way of doing it, and I don't really recommend it, as I said in the last video, so keep that in mind. And that is how we do weight in drawings. Please see the description for another video if these techniques weren't satisfactory, but again, I don't quite recommend what is in that other video, but if you're in a bind, it can work. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.